Hey, what's up, everyone? So, like a lot of you, I've also been playing with the IDEs, AI IDEs such as Windsurf, Cursor, and just generally been interested in how these things work. And I've had quite a bit of success with if you just use JavaScript or Python, but I was very curious to know how these things will work with something like ServiceNow. And honestly, it never even occurred to me that they may work with ServiceNow. But then, just out of curiosity, a little experimentation, I was able to see that they do understand, ServiceNow code and work with this. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Windsurf to make some changes in a scoped app that you may have. So for this, there are some prerequisites, and I'll first take you through to that. So first off, on the screen, you see my own instance, ServiceNow instance, and there is a scoped app that I have here called Bonsai Now. So this is just an app I've created to manage my trees. It has some trees. I have a lot more than these, but what it does is it's just simply an app where I can add the trees that I've bought, a little bit of description about them, purchase price, and things like that, right? So part of it is just managing my trees, part of it is learning the platform. So you should have a scoped app, I think. Probably not work when it is not scoped app. Then you should have your studio set up to ServiceNow Studio set up to connect to GitHub, and your app should be the file should be in Git. So this is important because the way Windsurf will work is that it will clone your repo from Git, and then you can sort of give it commands and so forth, right? So now, if you don't know how to do this, there is a video that I will link to in the description, not my video, but very easy, like 5 minute job to do this. And you can then connect your ServiceNow Studio to a Git account and then publish your app. So once you push your code to Git, it will look something like this, right? So this is my GitHub, and one of these repos, so Bonsai Now, is the ServiceNow app, and it has been pushed via ServiceNow Studio. So once you have these three things set up, which is you should have a scoped app, you should have your studio connected to your Git account, and then your app should be published on GitHub, then you are ready for the next step. And the next step is to take this and clone this repo in Windsurf. All right, so now hopefully your app is in Git, and now what you do is now you open Windsurf, and when you open the IDE, it'll look something like this: three sections. To your left, you will have your app, which I have cloned. Very trivial. You don't even need to know Git in this case. It's getting simpler and simpler. You just write a bunch of commands, and it does it for you. In the middle are the files that you may edit, or it edits for you, because in many cases it decides what to edit. And then here you have this chat type function. So now I did not show you how to clone the app, but it's really simple, and I'll show you something similar. Now there are changes in Git which are not here locally, so I'll ask it exactly. I'll just ask that: are there changes, or can you fetch uh, changes from remote? You can just ask it that. And so I know I just made some changes to Git, so I do expect that there are some changes. And now it's saying that, hey, can I fetch git fetch origin? Can I run this command? So you don't actually need to know this command anymore. Let me check what the status is. Our branch is main, and so I'm just doing everything on main. You shouldn't do it, but I'm just, for this demo, I'm doing that. So it did successfully get two files, 75 insertions, 129 deletions, and so forth. So it tells you that. And now what I want to do is I want to add a field on my table, on the form, which collects the stories of the trees. So let's just ask it to do it. Can you add a field called stories, tree stories, on the tree form? Not the tree form. Yeah, let's just call it form. This will be a text input, And so now what we expect it to do is it'll understand that I need to add an entry to the table, I need to add an entry to the UI section, and then it'll actually go and make the change. So first it is showing that, yeah, 3 stories on the table. So this is the table, and we should accept this because it is correctly identified that. And now it's editing the UI section, because not only does it need to add the table, it should also edit the UI section. So what has it done in the UI section? Let's see. So you see here how it is opening the files that it is editing in the editor. So here somewhere, okay, it has added sys UI element, and the element is, this is tree type. So this is not the one that it added though. It should have added something. Oh, so there are a lot of previous changes, I guess. And one of these changes should be the one that we just did. Now if I'm very diligent, I will look through all of this carefully, but then I am not very diligent. So I'm just going to accept all of it, like hopefully it works. Okay, so it made all the changes, and somewhere here we should have stories. So now it is asking me to see if it can commit all the changes to Git. So now why is it doing that is because in the past, whenever I have had it do something, I have asked it to commit it to Git. So it's immediately learned my behavior and said that, okay, this is what you typically ask me to do, so I'm going to ask you to do that. And so in the dictionary, as a string field with a maximum length of 2000, in the UI section positioned after healthy and before current past, 16, position 16. So it's now visible. So we should expect that it works. I do not know, whether it actually will work or not, but that's at least what it has done. So now we should first go into Git and see. 5 minutes ago there was a change. There should be a change now. Yeah, there is a change now. Added 3 stories text field. Okay, so this is the message that Windsurf itself created. You saw that I did not create anything. So we have this in Git now. Now we'll go to Studio and we will apply the remote changes. So if this all works correctly, then we should see a field called stories, and it'll be somewhere in the bottom, I think, if I remember the form correctly. So let's refresh this, see whether it actually occurred or not. Tree type, description, stories. So I do not see a story column here. Let me just refresh it one more time. Okay, so there is no 3 stories here. So let's see. We can configure the form and go to layout and see whether it actually added. Oh, so it did add 3 stories here just before dead and alive. So why is this not? Oh, there is 3 stories here. Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that. So I mean, it's like kind of magically, it understood that this is the area that it has to add, and this is the table, this is the section, etc., and it just did that. So now you can make it change the position of the field, which I'm just looking at this and I'm like, okay, this is a little bit off. I would expect it to come somewhere here, and then let's see if it can do that or not. So maybe after scientific name. So can go back to Windsurf, and actually, can you move the stories field to right after the scientific name? And see, this is all learning experimentation right now. It's okay. So what did it do? It actually took the position. Yeah, so you can see that the position was 16, and it has turned it into position 2. So I mean, 0 is the index, starts from 0. So 0 is the name, 1 is the scientific name, and then 2 is where it is where we asked it to put the story. So we'll accept this change. And now again, you say that it's asking me, do you want me to do this? So I do this, I do this, I do this. And it has been successful. Position 0, 1, 3 stories, 2, description goes on 1. So again, we'll go back to Git, and 3 minutes ago, so there should be a change now. Yeah, I mean, this kind of never fails. This will never fail. What we now need to see is from source control, and actually this will also never feel like ServiceNow will not fail to do this. But what is iffy is whether the change it made in the files got correctly applied here or not. I mean, that is always a little bit of question mark. And I mean, it will be in the beginning, and we are doing a very, very simple change. So that's another thing, that this is not very difficult. But again, I see that this has not come here. So we have tree name, scientific name, description, and maybe it's something that I'm not doing correctly. Should I just open this again? Let's see all. And what if I create a new one? Tree name, scientific name, description name. Okay, let's configure the form again. Form layout. And 3 stories. Okay, so it is showing stories here. Okay, so honestly, I do not know to me why it's not correctly reflecting there. But it is interesting. I mean, it did all of the correct things. It took the section, it gave it the third or 0, 1, 2 index, and it showed here. So, okay, so this this is the functionality that's not working. So anyway, I mean, I was kind of impressed by how this is functioning at the moment. I am showing you a very simple example. Simple examples are all I have done. And what I know clearly sort of does not work right now at this point is if you ask it to create some files. And where it fails is, I'll just show you, is that all of these files have this sysID, right? So if you see this sysID here, so if you will ask it to create a section or a UI policy, ACL, whatever, it'll just mess up in creating this sysID, and then sometimes it doesn't even create that. So what is better is, and I mean, you can see if maybe it's just something that I'm doing incorrectly, so you can correct me. But what you can do is you can create the thing that you want to create. If that is a UI section or a business rule or a script, bring it here and then ask it to make the edits. So that has a much, much higher success rate. And you saw that, it understands how to commit. It understood the place where it had to make the changes, the 2 files. So a lot of these things it is doing correctly. And if you are doing development today on the browser, then you may have noticed that every time you make a change here, you have to push it actually to Git, and you do need to apply those changes to your remote. So that is somehow, if you were just working natively in ServiceNow, you would not do it. And that is a big difference between working here and working there. So maybe they'll have a preview section at some point, or not, or maybe you just do everything in the browser, and this kind of behavior is somehow in the browser. I don't know. But anyway, I mean, this is all interesting stuff, very interesting stuff today that's happening. That was not possible a few months ago even, right? I mean, you could not ask in plain text to do something and then have it appear. So I mean, please try this out, please experiment. Let me know in the comments what your experience has been, and as I do more of these things and learn more, I will share this with you. So thanks everyone for watching.